So, after finishing Super Metroid and uploading my opinion of the game, where everyone 100% agreed on my take on it, I thought to myself, I dipped my toes into this franchise, and I'm ready for more. And since I now played the most beloved Metroid game, let's play the most hated one, Metroid Other M. That's also a direct sequel to Super Metroid. I mentioned in my last video that I played this game before when it came out, but I have absolutely no memory of the game. I do remember, however, why I bought it, and that's because this is one of the few Nintendo games you could buy close to release at a discount. The game was released September the 3rd, 2010, and in December the same year, I bought my copy for 99 Swedish crowns, and that translates roughly to about €10 or $10. And something we all know from Nintendo is that they never drop their prices, so something must have went terribly wrong when they predicted the sales for this game. Now, to start with, I'm not a Metroid fan, and I'm a newcomer to this franchise, but I do know this game is very hated by most fans because its story and how the game portrays Samus as a character. This is not gonna bother me as much because I'm not attached to this character. I do, however, like a good story, and does this game have a good story? Well, if you ask an angry screaming fanboy, of course it's not, but if you ask an outsider like me, I would say it's mixed. Look, I don't think the story is terrible. There are some good stuff here, but it's being held back by some weird decisions. We'll get to this later on. The start of the game gives you a cutscene of what's happening in the ending of Super Metroid, and this cutscene do look really good for the Wii. This cutscene goes on for a while, and then we get to hear Samus' voice for the first time.
I awoke to the familiar voice of the baby, the baby, to the baby's cry, the baby's cry.
Actually, I don't have a problem with her voice. I do, however, have a problem that we get to hear her thoughts all the fucking time.
I didn't need to press Adam about it any further.
The Galactic Federation was developing bioweapons on the bottle ship.
Not only was he a strong opponent of bioweapons,
I wonder if Adam came in
against the use of living things for unnecessary information.
Yeah, you thought Samus was a silent badass bounty hunter. Turns out she was always a whiny little bitch. Have to hear her thoughts in every cutscene is just so annoying because she's just analyzing everything around her. I'm gonna give you an example here on how much better some of the scenes would be without her commentary. Here is the original scene.
The large, cage-like booth looked like something had been raised in it. And in one corner was the miserable form of a researcher's corpse. This victim hadn't sustained the same injuries. The dead I'd seen had been torn apart by something large. This one had been attacked by a different type of creature. And as I studied the violence this creature had wrought, I felt something in the air, the presence of a dark intelligence.
And here's the same scene with some small edits and no voice. As you can see, her voice didn't really add much value, and you didn't need it to understand what's happening in the room. It's a breeding room and something killed a scientist. Another thing with this game is that the cutscenes goes on for far too long without much really happening. Samus' backstory is one of those moments. You will get this backflash from time to time and it's just boring. Nothing interesting ever happened in those. They could just summarize it by saying Samus served in the space military and likes Adam for some reason. And yeah, this Adam, he is just a big fucking nothing. There's nothing interesting about this dude. He's just a stone-faced officer with no personality. So every time Samus drooling for his attention, it makes it hard to understand why she so desperately wants it.
I wondered what Adam thought of me. Out of nowhere, I suddenly found myself concerned with his opinion again.
You need to shut the fuck up!
The game does a terrible job to make us care about Samus and Adam's relationship, even when they give us long cutscenes with them together from the past. It's just nothing that gives you this, yeah, that's why he's important to her, or anything. These cutscenes are just pointless. And now we come to the worst thing with the game. This Adam is the one that controls your powers. That's right, you have all the upgrades from Super Metroid already, but Adam don't want you to use them without his permission. This is really dumb because Samus is not a part of this Galactic Federation anymore. She is on this mission as an independent bounty hunter and just happened to bump into these people, and now suddenly she will take command from Adam. So every time Adam calls and says,
Show me your moves!
you don't get this feeling that you unlocked a new power, you just get annoyed because you get reminded that you could have used these powers from the beginning if Samus just didn't decide to be Adam's little bitch. I understand they didn't want you to have all Samus' abilities from the beginning, so here's an example of what they could have done. Samus lands on this battle ship and find Adam and inform her teammates. Adam tells her to leave and let the professionals handle this mission. Samus suggests that they all work as a team and they're gonna need her help thanks to all the powers from her suit. Adam mocks her and says that she's only alive because that suit and she will never be able to handle herself without it. This makes Samus furious and she says she will be able to finish these missions without any of her powers, and turns it all off.
You should be well aware of how dangerous power bombs are.
You know what's dangerous? A strong, independent woman with a brain.
Now she's gonna prove Adam wrong, and the further you get into the game, she realizes she needs her powers and turn them on one by one, realizing she can't actually finish these missions without the help from her suit. Now this version I described would be stupid, like very stupid, making it almost like a high school drama thing, but it would still be better than what we got in the final game. So there you have the bad stuff with the story. Long unnecessary cutscenes, Samus being an annoying bitch, and Adam just taking your powers away. And yeah, even when Adam dies, Samus still not activates all her powers, until the last second when she's about to die for some idiotic reason. But there are good stuff about the story as well. I like how they brought Ridley back. It's this weird little Labubu thing from the beginning that evolves into a bigger monster that turns out to be Ridley. It's a clone, and this whole bottle ship is a secret space station that the Galactic Federation used to create different creatures and bionic weapons. This part of the story I really liked. I thought it was interesting to learn how they created an AI mother brain to control the creatures, and that there's a traitor in the group that tried to destroy the evidence about this whole bottle ship. So there are some good story stuff here, it's just being held back by all the stupid stuff I mentioned. Now, what about the gameplay? Well, to start with, use the Wii Remote. And only a Wii Remote. No nunchuck, no classic controller or GameCube controller, just a Wii Remote. So you hold this sideways using the D-pad and these 3 other buttons. That's it. And this is a 3D game. You move with a tiny D-pad in a 3D game. This sounds like a disaster, but you know what? It actually works. I mean, it would always probably feel better if you could use a nunchuck, but the whole game is designed with these controls in mind. And it works. It's actually kind of impressive. I will point out that I have somewhat small hands, so using the D-pad works for me. But if you have big hands, maybe this type of controls would be a nightmare for you. Now, since you only have like 2 buttons, jump and shoot, there are some gimmicks with motion controls. Point the Wii Remote at the screen to go into first-person view. This is the only way you can shoot missiles, and using the grappling beam. Holding the Wii Remote up and press A refills the missiles and recover your health if you low on it. On paper, this mechanic sounds terrible, but once again, it works fine. In first-person mode you can't move, so you have to find the right time to enter this mode without getting hit. The times also slows down for a split second, so you get a chance to get better aim. This whole enter the first-person mode is kind of a big deal in the game and that you need to master. All bosses rely on this playstyle and the game demonstrates this from the very beginning. This actually makes bosses really fun, even if you're kind of using the same tactic on all of them. About this other mechanic by holding the Wii Remote up and pressing A to recover health and missiles, this is not something you can spam. Okay, you can fill up missiles at any time, but to be honest, it's not a big difference from doing this in Super Metroid. The health, however, can only be recovered when it's critical. This means that you once again have to find the right timing to recover your health, because it takes some time to fill it up. The combat overall is actually really good. Samus is a complete badass in this game, and you can execute monsters by charging a beam and run up to them when they are low on health. You can also dodge in this game by tapping any direction on the D-pad on an incoming attack. This also works in first-person mode, and it's another important gameplay feature to use frequently. As for the shooting, there's an auto-aim to the closest enemy, but you will try to use the charge beam as much as possible to damage multiple enemies in one hit. The way you explore in this game is also different. I don't even know if you can call this a Metroidvania game. This time you have a clear objective marked on the map. You no longer run back and forth all the time and try to find the right wall to blow up. This time you enter a room and you often have an objective to complete. Mostly it's to find a switch to open the door. But to find the switch you need to do a little thinking and platforming. And sometimes you just need to fight a lot of aliens. Once you reach your goal, you never need to backtrack. Instead, you find a shortcut and often come back to the place where you started from. Or maybe I should say, sometimes you can't even backtrack because doors can permanently close behind you and the game don't think you need to go there anymore. It's not until the end of the game where the game just unlocks all the doors and you can explore everything. This is actually the best part of the game, when you are fully upgraded and can hunt for all the extra missiles, beam charges and health. This time every extra item is displayed on the map, and it sounds kind of dumb, but when you enter a room where it's supposed to be, you still have to figure out where it's hiding. Some of them can be quite tricky to find. But like I said, it's really fun and this made me 100% the game. Maybe this game is Metroid for dummies, but I really liked it, except for the story stuff. I really had no big problems with the controls, the action and gameplay was fun. Of course, there are more problems than just the story. For example, there are many invisible walls. The wall jump exists in this game, but it's just a gimmick. You can only use it in a few places. And there's also no replay value in this game, in my opinion. I know for sure I'm not gonna play this game again. Wait a minute. I played this one when it came out. I do think I liked it. And one last thing. At the end of the game, Sam is gonna get Adam's helmet back that he left in the space station because of some dumb reason. And then she deactivates her suit completely and runs away with it, while the station is about to self-destruct. This of course makes no sense, but you wanna know how it could have made sense? If you wanted to prove that she could finish one task without the powers from her suit. Just saying. My final IGN score of the game,